What if the universe heard us? What if, across the endless dark, something answered not with a voice but with a presence? From the frozen gulf between the stars, a wanderer drifts into view. It carries no engines, no signal, no purpose we can read. Only momentum, ancient and silent, pulling it across the light of distant suns until it brushes the edge of our home. Humanity has seen such strangers before. In 2017, the world paused at the passing of Oumuamua, the first known interstellar visitor. It was thin, tumbling, unlike anything in our solar family. Then came Borisov, a comet blazing with the familiar breath of ice. Two arrivals back to back like whispers through an open door. Now comes another. Astronomers call it 3I Atlas, a third messenger, a third reminder that the gulf between stars is not empty after all. Yet its appearance raises a question that feels heavier than science alone. Was its arrival mere chance? Or did our restless probing, our radio calls to the void, our colliders tearing open the smallest seams of reality, our telescopes gazing farther than ever before, somehow beckon it here? The image is stark, a shard of alien stone gliding through the cold black sea of space, indifferent yet intimate, like a ghost crossing a threshold uninvited. It is a spectacle that stirs both awe and unease, because behind the wonder lies a quiet fear, not of invasion but of recognition. Has our search awakened something that was always drifting toward us? Or are we only now opening our eyes to what has always been there, watching, waiting, passing us by in silence? The journey of 3I Atlas begins here, and with it a new chapter in humanity's confrontation with the unknown. On a quiet night in late spring of 2020, the sky above Hawaii glowed with its familiar canopy of stars. Amid this eternal backdrop, a set of robotic eyes swept the heavens. These instruments belong to the Atlas system, the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. Designed as guardians, they were built to protect Earth from incoming threats. Asteroids that could, in a single strike, alter the course of life. Two telescopes, one perched on Mauna Loa and the other on Haleakala, scanned the skies with tireless precision. Their task was not poetic but urgent, to notice the unnoticed, to catch the faint, shifting pinpricks of light that might betray a rock on a collision path with our fragile world. Yet on this night the data revealed something else, a trace, a flicker against the fabric of background stars. At first it was nothing more than a speck, indistinguishable from noise. But as the software tracked its movement, patterns began to emerge. Astronomers gathered, first in curiosity, then in growing wonder. The object moved in a way that betrayed its origin. It was not circling the sun like a comet tied to the leash of gravity. Its path curved outward, away, its velocity too great to be bound. The calculations whispered a single truth. This was no child of our solar system. It had come from the interstellar dark. They named it 3I Atlas, the third known interstellar visitor, after Oumuamua and Borisov. The realization carried a weight both scientific and existential. Atlas had been built as a sentinel against destruction, yet it had instead uncovered a messenger from beyond the sun's domain. A shard of matter older than our world, a traveler crossing light years of emptiness revealed by instruments meant only to guard us. Its discovery was not marked by explosions or alarms, but by silence. A quiet recognition that once again something had found its way to us, something unbound, hyperbolic in its flight, a curve etched by forces far beyond our system's reach. And as the data settled into certainty, a new mystery unfurled. The heavens had opened their ledger, and written in it was the name of another interstellar wanderer. For centuries, the heavens had been measured in familiar rhythms. Planets circled the sun with clockwork precision. Comets returned on long, predictable arcs, their icy tails blooming like flowers before retreating once more into the outer dark. Even the great disturbances of the cosmos, their collisions, their deaths, their births, seemed contained within a pattern. The solar system was a sealed chamber, ruled by gravity's embrace. The idea that something could break through, a body born beyond the reach of the sun and passing unbound through its dominion, was once little more than speculation. Astronomers knew that in theory the galaxy was filled with debris. They suspected that stars scattered fragments of their creation, and that these fragments wandered between suns. Yet suspicion is not evidence. For thousands of years, no human eye had recorded such a visitor. The records of comets, stretching back to Babylonian tablets, spoke only of wanderers bound to the sun's leash. Nothing in the night sky betrayed the presence of an interstellar intruder. Then came the first, In 2017, the arrival of Oumuamua shook astronomy to its core. Its hyperbolic trajectory tore through centuries of certainty. It was moving too fast at too sharp an angle to be tied to the sun. This was the first undeniable messenger from another star system. Barely 2 years later, Oumuamua and Borisov appeared, blazing unmistakably with the breath of sublimating ice, as though to remind us that the first had not been a trick of chance. Two such discoveries in rapid succession defied expectation, and now a third. Atlas, a fragile, faint object yet laden with meaning. Statistically, the odds should have been vanishingly small. Millennia of silence, then 3 in quick succession. Some scientists argue that only now do we finally have the tools sharp enough to notice what has always been passing by. Wide-field surveys, automated telescopes, digital eyes that never sleep. The universe has not changed, they say. We have. Yet others whisper a question that science alone cannot answer. Has the galaxy itself entered a new season? Could the local currents of interstellar matter, invisible rivers of dust and stone, be shifting in ways we do not yet comprehend? Or is it only coincidence that our gaze, sharpened by technology, coincides with this sudden flurry of visitors? The shock lies not only in the evidence, but in the silence it breaks. The stars, long thought distant and contained, now prove to be restless neighbors. The void between them is no longer empty, but alive with travelers. Each hyperbolic path is a reminder that the barriers we imagined were illusions. The cosmos is not closed. It breathes, it moves, and it reaches us. For a species that once believed the Earth was the center of all things, this realization carries both wonder and unease. To glimpse 3 interstellar wanderers in a single generation feels less like chance and more like revelation. A message written in the language of trajectories and velocities, whispering that the universe is more open, more interconnected, and perhaps more aware than we ever dared believe. The first task after discovery was to measure, to take the faint spark of light that was 3i Atlas and pull from it the truth of its nature. No spacecraft could chase it. No probe could capture even a grain of its surface. All that astronomers possessed was light, faint flickering photons striking sensitive detectors after traveling millions of kilometers. Yet in that light lay a story. Through repeated observations, astronomers traced its brightness, watching the subtle shifts in intensity as sunlight scattered from its surface. They mapped its curve across the sky, and with every calculation, its identity began to sharpen. It bore a hazy, diffuse glow, a suggestion of a tail drawn out by the sun's warmth. Unlike the solid glint of an asteroid, this was the breath of sublimating ice. And yet it was unstable. The data revealed not a single intact body, but fragments. 3i Atlas was breaking apart as it neared the sun, a fragile interstellar snowball unraveling in the heat. The picture it painted was one of fragility and impermanence. Born in the cold depths of another stellar nursery, carried for uncounted ages through the interstellar dark, only to shatter when passing too close to our star. This was no enduring monument of stone, but a fleeting messenger of ice and dust. Its behavior recalled Borisov, the second interstellar visitor, which blazed with the unmistakable activity of a comet. Yet Atlas was weaker, more brittle, collapsing into pieces before it could display its full brilliance. At the same time, it carried echoes of the first visitor, Oumuamua, whose shape and motion defied expectation. Where Oumuamua spun like a shard of something stretched thin, and Borisov blazed like a classic comet, Atlas seemed caught between these two archetypes. It was familiar enough to be called a comet, but alien in its fragility, its swift disintegration. In this tension lay its mystery. It was a fragment of elsewhere, a body shaped under laws and conditions not of our sun but of some other star's creation. Its chemistry, though invisible to our instruments in detail, hinted at a composition sculpted in an alien nursery, perhaps richer in certain ices, perhaps weaker in structure. Whatever its origins, it bore the fingerprints of a world beyond our reach. For astronomers, its short-lived presence raised profound questions. What secrets of distant stars were encoded in its dust? Could its vanishing fragments reveal the recipe of alien planetary systems, the ingredients with which other worlds are born? And if so, how many of these fragile wanderers pass unnoticed, too faint to be seen, too brief to be measured? 3i Atlas seemed a whisper of both connection and distance. It was close enough to touch with our eyes, yet forever beyond our grasp. A reminder that the galaxy is not only vast but also fragile. Its messengers arrive not as monuments but as delicate ghosts, unraveling even as we struggle to understand them. In their fragility lies a truth. The universe is not built only from stone and fire, but also from dust and memory, carried across the dark until it dissolves before us. For nearly all of recorded history, the night sky seemed sealed. Planets traced their orbits. Comets returned on long arcs, some spanning centuries, yet always bound to the sun. For millennia, humanity imagined itself at the center of a quiet enclosure, visited only by bodies born of this solar cradle. Then, in scarcely the span of a single decade, the silence broke. Not once, but 3 times. Oumuamua in 2017, Borisov in 2019, Atlas in 2020. 3 interstellar wanderers, arriving in rapid succession after untold ages of apparent absence. The question deepened into something more than scientific curiosity. Why now? Why us? Some astronomers turn to galactic mechanics for answers. Our solar system, though it feels like a stable home, is not still. It drifts through the Milky Way at more than 800,000 kilometers per hour, circling the galactic center once every 230 million years. In this grand orbit, the sun passes through regions of varying density. Clouds of gas, streams of dust, vast but invisible structures of interstellar debris. It is possible, some suggest, that we have entered such a region now. A denser current of galactic flotsam, funneling fragments into the sun's gravity well. If true, the sky itself has shifted, and we are moving through a season of wandering stones. Others look to the hidden architecture of gravity. A passing star in the distant past may have stirred loose a cascade of icy bodies from the edges of another system, sending them into deep space. After aeons adrift, those fragments could simply be reaching us now, their arrival no more than coincidence. Yet coincidence grows heavy when it repeats, and then speculation sharpens into something almost unsettling. Humanity, for the first time in history, is broadcasting itself across the cosmos. Radio signals, radar pings, deep space transmissions, all spilling outward at the speed of light. Probes launched into interstellar space carry not only instruments, but the gravitational nudge of their journeys. Could such actions, however faint, alter the cosmic ledger? Not in the sense of beckoning intelligence, but in the subtle way energy resonates through the universe. Could the act of searching, of probing, of extending our reach, be entwined with the sudden recognition of these visitors? To the scientist, such thoughts border on the poetic. To the philosopher, they border on the inevitable. Perhaps nothing has changed in the galaxy at all. Perhaps only we have changed. Our instruments sharpened, our gaze widened, our awareness tuned to a reality that was always present. The universe did not decide to send its wanderers now. We simply learned to notice, yet the timing cannot be ignored. 3 interstellar objects in less than the span of a human heartbeat. A pattern is forming, faint but undeniable, and with each new arrival the tension grows. For hidden within that pattern is a truth we have not yet uncovered. A story written in the trajectories of alien stones. A story that hints at currents larger than stars and mysteries older than time. The sense builds not of coincidence but of escalation. The silence of the cosmos has been broken, and in the wake of that rupture a deeper unease begins to stir. The arrival of 3i Atlas did more than deepen curiosity. It forced open the gates of speculation. If 3 such objects could appear in such a short time, then the cosmos was not a closed system, but a sea filled with drifting messengers. Astronomers began to ask not only where they came from, but why they were here at all. The first and most grounded explanations lie in the physics of creation itself. Every star in its youth is surrounded by a swirling disk of dust and gas. Within these chaotic nurseries, planets and moons are forged, but not every fragment finds a stable orbit. Countless planetesimals, icy shards and rocky cores are hurled into deep space during these violent early years. Our own solar system likely expelled trillions of such bodies, most never to return. If this is true for our sun, then it must be true for countless other stars. The galaxy should be filled with these castaways, wandering between suns for billions of years until by chance they intersect with another star's gravity well. Perhaps we are simply beginning to notice what has always been falling past. Yet the galaxy itself is not still. Stars orbit its center, and their gravitational tides ripple through unseen reservoirs of icy matter. Like the Oort cloud surrounding our system, a passing star can stir these reservoirs, dislodging frozen comets and scattering them across space. Entire streams of debris may drift silently for millions of years before finding their way here. Some theorists extend this further, suggesting that even dark matter, the invisible scaffold holding galaxies together, might play a role, subtly altering the paths of interstellar debris with forces we cannot yet map. Beyond the realm of accepted astrophysics, more daring ideas emerge. Some speculate that interstellar objects might be probes, their cometary disguises masking an artificial origin. This echoes Avi Loeb's suggestion about Oumuamua, which he argued could have been a fragment of alien technology, pushed by radiation pressure rather than a natural outgassing of ice. If one interstellar visitor might be artificial, could others? The notion is controversial, but it lingers, like a shadow at the edge of the data. Another speculation ties to panspermia, the ancient idea that life might be seeded across the galaxy by drifting bodies of ice and rock. If comets carry organic compounds, then interstellar comets carry the possibility of sharing those ingredients between stars. 3I Atlas, fragile and fleeting, could have been a vessel for life's chemistry, cast adrift long before our world was born. Whether that chemistry could survive the interstellar cold remains uncertain, but the possibility stirs a profound reflection. Perhaps the galaxy itself breathes life through these wanderers. Still others see not intention, but synchrony. Humanity's instruments have only recently reached a level of sensitivity capable of catching faint interstellar drifters. To them, the recent cluster of discoveries is not evidence of cosmic change, but of human awakening. The universe has always been filled with such objects. We simply opened our eyes. Einstein's relativity underpins every calculation of their paths. Without it, the hyperbolic arcs of Oumuamua, Borisov, and Atlas could not be traced with precision. And yet beyond mathematics lies speculation. Stephen Hawking often warned that contact with the unknown could be perilous. He imagined scenarios where unseen visitors pass silently, unnoticed by civilizations too young to recognize them. In these interstellar wanderers, some hear the echo of Hawking's caution, strangers crossing our threshold, indifferent yet full of potential meaning. The theories range from the ordinary to the extraordinary, from planetesimals flung across light years, to dark matter currents, to alien craft and seeds of life. Each is a fragment of possibility, reflecting both the rigor of science and the restless imagination of humanity. 3I Atlas is gone, shattered before its secrets could be measured. What remains is the question, and in that question, the sense that we are brushing against a truth larger than our science, a truth that whispers from the silence between stars. The story of 3I Atlas is not only about the object itself, but about the tools that allowed humanity to glimpse it at all. For most of history, such a wanderer would have passed unnoticed. Even Oumuamua, had it arrived a generation earlier, might have left no trace in our records. It is only now, with a network of eyes sharper than any before, that these fleeting strangers are revealed. Atlas, the asteroid terrestrial impact last alert system, was the first to catch its signal, built not for curiosity but for defense. Its wide-field cameras sweep the heavens each night in search of small asteroids that might collide with Earth. The system is designed for speed, to recognize faint specks of light shifting against the constellations, to raise an alarm if danger approaches. Yet in this case, its watchful gaze uncovered something more profound than threat, an interstellar fragment unraveling under the sun's heat. Atlas was not alone. Pan-STARRS, also perched on Hawaiian summits, adds another layer to humanity's vision. With its enormous digital eye, Pan-STARRS has cataloged billions of stars, asteroids, and comets, each one a point of reference against which anomalies can be revealed. Together, these instruments form a safety net for the unexpected, and soon that net will widen. High in the Chilean Andes, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory prepares to open its gaze. Its legacy survey of space and time will capture the entire southern sky every few nights, creating a living film of the cosmos. With its unmatched depth and breadth, Rubin is expected to find not just asteroids and supernovae, but perhaps dozens of interstellar visitors, each too faint for earlier generations to see. What was once miracle, a single interstellar sighting, may soon become a catalog. Beyond the visible light, astronomers turn to spectroscopy, the art of splitting starlight into its hidden codes. Every atom, every molecule leaves a signature in light. By studying the spectrum of 3I Atlas, scientists hope to glimpse its composition, to see whether its ices and dust match those of comets born in our own system. But its fragility betrayed them. Atlas broke apart too soon, scattering itself before a clear fingerprint could be taken. What little data was captured suggested common ices, water, carbon dioxide, yet the details dissolved into silence. It remained a messenger whose message had been lost in the moment of its arrival. To look forward, astronomers turned to simulations. Using orbital mechanics grounded in Einstein's relativity, and refined through supercomputing and artificial intelligence, they modeled the likely pathways of unseen interstellar bodies. By tracing streams of ejected material from stellar nurseries and mapping the galaxy's gravitational tides, they begin to predict where and when new visitors might appear. These simulations are not prophecy, but they offer a tantalizing vision that the next interstellar messenger could be anticipated and prepared for, and preparation carries a dream. Not only to observe from afar but to intercept, engineers have proposed missions like the Comet Interceptor, a spacecraft waiting in the quiet of the Sun-Earth Lagrange point, ready to launch toward any newly discovered wanderer. Others imagine faster, more daring pursuits, lightweight probes propelled by solar sails, catching the fleeting trajectory of an object like Oumuamua before it slips away forever. To touch, to sample, to hold in hand a fragment of another star system. That is the ambition that grows each time one of these visitors appears. The tools are evolving as quickly as the mysteries themselves. Telescopes on mountaintops, instruments orbiting Earth, computers simulating the galaxy, and spacecraft designs on drafting tables all converge toward a singular purpose: to catch the next messenger, and to decode its story before it vanishes into the dark. Atlas may have shattered, but its legacy is not in fragments of dust. It is in the sharpening of our vision, the widening of our reach, and the relentless determination to be ready when the cosmos sends its next emissary across the threshold of the sun. They come without warning, not with fire or conquest, but with silence, faint points of light, wandering fragments from alien suns, slipping into the dominion of our star as if crossing an invisible threshold. Interstellar visitors are symbols, as much as they are objects. They remind us that the universe does not end at the edges of our solar system. They remind us that the matter beneath our feet, the water in our veins, and the fragments drifting through space are all part of a shared galactic history. Each carries a past we cannot fully read, a memory of a star we have never seen, a nursery of worlds we will never touch. In their sudden arrivals, there lingers the suggestion of dialogue. Not spoken, not intentional, but a rhythm nonetheless. For the first time, humanity is listening closely enough to hear it. Our telescopes, our instruments, our restless curiosity, together they sharpen our senses until the galaxy seems less like a silent backdrop and more like a living current. One that sweeps wanderers across our sky, daring us to notice. There is unease in this realization. Humanity does not yet know whether it is a listener or a summoner. Radio waves spill outward into the void. Probes slip free of the sun's pull. Colliders and observatories extend our reach into realms once thought untouchable. Perhaps the cosmos remains indifferent to all of this, or perhaps in ways too subtle for us to measure. The act of seeking reshapes what is found, and so each visitor becomes more than a scientific curiosity. It becomes a mirror. It forces a reflection not only on what lies beyond, but on who we are within. Seekers, dreamers, apprentices to a cosmos that answers in fragments. Atlas came, and it shattered. Yet even in its disintegration it carried a message, not of invasion, not of threat, but of perspective. It whispered that the galaxy is vast, that its stories drift endlessly, and that our place within it is not at the center, but among the countless shores of possibility. The question lingers with haunting weight. Did humanity, with all its searching, summon Three-Eye Atlas from the dark? Or did the object summon us, summon our awareness, our humility, our wonder, to a greater understanding of our place in the stars? In the quiet dark of the cosmos, the answer remains unspoken. Yet the question itself is enough to change.